one of the villains of Friendship is Magic is way more disturbing than you'd first think. And Hasbro, you got some serious explaining to do. So y'all know Tyrek, right? The sentient maraschino cherry with a very simple business plan. Steal the horse magic, get jacked, go on a road rampage, pop the Shepley. But one thing that always struck me as odd was that the magic was described as life force. Heck, even Cozy Glow directly calls it that at one point. We're gonna get back to this Wendy's old-fashioned hamburger. The reason I found this odd is because beyond being exhausted for a while and losing their usable magic, everyone seems to be just fine. Even Discord, a literal embodiment of magic, it genuinely seems like no one's affected by essentially having their life force drained. So why is it called life force? This really stoned me for a long time, for years in fact, until I saw something recently and realized it might not be their lifeblood. Monodash talked more about it in detail in this video of his, but SmartNotes version. Have you ever thought to look deeper about how ponies pretty much control the weather, the change of seasons, parts of changing seasons like leaves falling off trees, which should happen naturally, hydrologic cycle, which should just happen on its own, and most notably, literally raising and setting the sun and moon. Speaking of which, the sun is treated more like a physical object, slightly bigger than the moon. We know it's not a star. There's no way Celestial would be able to move a whole star, and if it really was that close, there wouldn't be an Equestria to follow, so what gives? The only place that seems to break from this is the Everfree Forest, and the ponies are terrified of it, calling it unnatural and scary from the lack of control, and notably from Applejack. It just doesn't work like the rest of Equestria. Mono did suggest that it could just be comfort in having control over that stuff, especially after the Wendigo blizzard, but the thing is, things were functioning the same way beforehand. It was pretty much the only reason that the three tribes were cooperating. More tellingly, the two other tribes relied on the earth ponies for food. Does that mean crops and food plants physically couldn't grow that back then? Tell it doesn't work the same way in present day, because things like the apple trees can pretty easily grow on their own. Earth ponies just help with that. But back then it seemed implied that they couldn't. Every time the loss of Magica controls that stuff is brought up by something, it's treated as apocalyptic, like the world is literally dependent on it. And we see that with the sun and moon, so I don't think it can function on its own. This world literally seems reliant on magic to keep natural processes going. So what happens if that's taken away? Granted, we saw in Nightmare Moon's timeline that the world isn't too affected by always being day or night or the sun and moon not moving. But everything else? Life literally depends on that stuff to survive no matter what world you're in. And this could also explain why ponies are the main species to begin with in this world. In Tyrek's origin comic, Sendak literally says that their magic is the most powerful in the world. What if it's the only magic that can control those functions? Speaking of Tyrek's origin comic, we see he feels entitled to that power, to have it all for himself. Heck, in the show, one of his first lines is literally saying that that magic should have been his. And we saw the destruction he wrought in his own timeline. He's just a pure evil villain destroying the world because of entitlement and magical steroids. This may legitimately make him the most terrifying villain in the entire show. There's a reason he was in the final cast. But that leads us to Cozy Glow. Because when Tyrek's plan inevitably failed, he essentially pulled an "if I can't have this, no one can" move. Somehow getting in contact with who's essentially his proxy, to literally have all the useful magic erased! Granted, Cozy Glow's nowhere near innocent, but he was still manipulating a child to do his bidding and then take the fall. Kinda makes you wonder what other things he convinced her to do. Now, since Pegasi and Earth Ponies didn't seem to be affected by her plan, it wouldn't be as bad as Tyrek. It's also heavily implied that thinking what she was doing would level the playing field a bit, not to mention if it took me till I was 22 to figure out the bigger ramifications of this, I doubt Cozy Glow would. Evil genius or not. But Tyrek definitely does know, and he still does it anyways. Not to mention he was literally keeping in regular contact with a kid, making them do all kinds of things that they otherwise wouldn't believe, and generally using her vulnerability in disturbing ways, and off to the Twitter jail! Okay, now that the studio's on lockdown, enjoy your all-inclusive stay in Tartarus. It's really dark, really lonely, and, as you'd expect, full of dead people, or mythical creatures or whatever. I don't care. I still can't get over all these implications. This is lore you blindly accept on a surface level, only to severely question the logistics of it when you look deeper. Most likely scenario is that long ago, before anything we saw, the land was hit by a major catastrophe, one that left most areas not able to function on their own. The world likely also lost its original sun and/or moon and had to create copies. And given Tyrik's farm and pasture story, this was most likely triggered by Grogar. The real one, not the Discord replica. This cute and fluffy world may just be a post-apocalypse in plain sight. Either areas like the Everfree Forest and the Daring Do Jungle were some of the only areas that survived this catastrophe, or they were some of the first to heal from it. It's possible over time the world healed enough for crops and stuff to grow on their own after hundreds of years. I guess that provides some hope. Also, notice how I didn't even mention G5, because considering all the inconsistency there are, and the amount of crap that series pulled, I think it's safe to consider that an alternate universe. And that leaves so many questions, like what caused this mess? What are the ponies hiding from? And do sharks have any freaking clue hummingbirds exist? Hasbro, you have 24 hours to respond, or I'm just gonna assume the worst.